Welcome back to another editing behind the scenes video. I wanted to get around to this a lot sooner, but just got really busy over the entirety of December, and January was just also not really a great time to be doing voiceover. This is going to be about 7 minutes in total, and this is basically going to be 3 videos condensed into one. Most of the stuff that you're going to see is working with stock images. I had a lot more footage ready to go originally, but I cut a lot of stuff out just because the finished product was just going to be way too long. But a lot of the stuff that I cut out, I had already covered in previous content before, and just didn't think it was that relevant to the main focus here, which is, again, working with stock images and just implementing different effects into the image that's not actually there. There's not actually all of this dust and all this sand and all this dirt and crap just getting kicked up. I mean, this is all stuff that I pulled from Adobe stock, and none of what I'm showing is like rocket science. There's people that have done this way more successfully than me, but just wanted to show that, you know, you can teach yourself how to do this kind of stuff. Like, this is kind of cool. And, you know, a lot of what I'm working with is just basic adjustments like resizing and rotating. Once you've actually got your image plugged in as a separate layer, just resize it, rotate it, play around with it, and just see what works. The biggest thing is changing your layer type to make it blend in with your image. With this picture, changing that layer type to what's called lighten is what did the trick. It's made that black background that you saw earlier just turn totally transparent, and all that you could really see was the image's borders, or like the outer edges of it, and the actual particles themselves. And going in with the eraser tool and getting rid of the borders is step 1, but then after that, just making sure that stock images, you know, edges that are still there aren't colliding to a visible degree with other layers in that image. Going in with the eraser tool and making those manual tweaks is what did the trick. So not too much going on with this segment. There's just a lot of erasing going on. So for context, the particle effects layer, I was happy with how it turned out in the first segment, but there were elements of the size of it that I wasn't too happy with. It just it was spilling over a little bit too much into the center of the frame here. In order to clean all that stuff up, I needed to go in with the eraser tool on the stock images layer and erase the Spartan laser from, like, you know, kind of where those two layers intersect. It's not that I don't like the appearance that it gives. I kind of dig, like, the more faded kind of look to it. It was taken away from some of the details and, like, the contrast on the Spartan laser, and ultimately just decided just to go ahead with that. And towards the end here, it's just some minor, like, manual detailing, just brightening up some areas, getting a few of those particles enhanced, making a couple tweaks with the visor, just, you know, a few things just to clean up. This was actually a second recording that I took on the same day as the first one. So out of all 3 segments, this is my favorite. This recording actually took place a little over a week after the previous 2, and this was also like right after Thanksgiving, and I just got like really busy. I went into this cold. I wanted to warm up, so for the first like 40 seconds or so of this recording is just manual tweaking, working on the visor, and just working with the threshold of the stock image that we covered previously, and enhance all of the particles in just one swath instead of trying to individually brighten them all. And for the second half of this editing session, I wanted to do something with the ghost that's in the background. My original idea was to make it look like some dust or like some dirt and sand was getting kicked up, and it was going okay. I pulled like a similar stock image from Adobe and thought that I would just try to make it all look like it's going in motion in one direction. And it wasn't a bad idea, but I wasn't like too happy with it for whatever reason. So after figuring out how to try to get it to blend in with the background, I just kind of gave up on it. I figured, okay, well, what if I go into the filter tab? It's on the top bar of the application. And what if I play around with the spiral effect? I had never done this before, so results were to be determined. And then it kind of looks kind of cool, like there was a little bit of like a lens flare or something like that going off from the side. And so I just kind of pulled some of that layer out of the frame and just put some motion blurring on it, brighten it up a little bit, and just messed around with it in the layers list to make it fit. And honestly, for having like a lens flare kind of looking effect in the foreground, I don't think it looks too bad. Like, it looks pretty good to me. So ultimately, not exactly what I was going for initially, but I mean, I'll take it. I'll definitely work with this in the future. I think it's kind of a cool effect.